Hello again, fellow cosplay and prop enthusiasts. This is Sith Alexander for part 10 of the Old Republic Sith Acolyte mask helmet tutorial. I didn't bother making a video about standing for the most part because, I mean, there's only a few tips and tricks I really need to give you. Other than that, it's standing. A couple of things you'll need are sandpaper. I have 3 different kinds. I got, actually I have 4 different kinds. You're going to want 60 grit. I found this out as I was starting to sand the body filler down. 60 grit sandpaper is the best to get the big chunks that you have left over when you first apply the body filler. That stuff really eats through it, and then 80 grit's good when you get it down to kind of a closer to the main portion of the main body of the helmet. And then you're going to want 320. This comes later, but 320 is for smoothing it out. And then for real fine detail, really making it smooth is 800 to 1000. So 4 different types of sandpaper. 80 grit will work for pretty much everything, but I found that 60 grit was better for the big stuff. You can get away with just 80 if you don't want to spend any extra money for 60. But other than that, I sanded the whole mask after I got the body filler on. From my last video, I only showed you the top portion because my stuff dried pretty quickly. But I went through and finished the whole mask and learned something really cool that the fiberglass resin doesn't do. The body filler in my cup, after it's done setting and drying, does not adhere to plastic. So you can just squeeze your cup and break it up, and you can save your cup. So it's not really disposable at that point. And it's the same principle behind these things. You just flex them, and for the most part, all this stuff cleans off of it, just like so. So that's really good. I've already sanded this several times. It's been a couple days since the last video, but this I've spent probably a good 4 or 5 hours sanding it just to get to this point. It's nowhere near done yet. This is just draft 1 of it. I've already cleaned it with my my mineral spirits. Just rag and getting all the dust out of the pores and the pits, and that's what I'm here to talk to you about today. Oh, I also sanded the inside. Not too big of a deal, but mainly just sanding down rough edges, specifically around the edges, and anything that's going to touch skin. You're not going to want to dig too deep into this because this is your boning. This is the backbone of the whole mask. It's what keeps it strong. So, plus it's really hard. Those fibers really reinforce this. I'm not done with the inside either, but this tutorial is fine for the outside. I still haven't got any more hardener yet. The SWTOR I went to without, so I'm going to have to go to another one. Still need to do some of the sections in here, but for this, we can go ahead and talk about it. As for the reason why we're here today is once you apply your first coat of body filler, you're going to have pits. It's unavoidable. You're going to miss spots. It's not going to apply evenly, and even if you sand it, you're going to have, you know, spots like this that you wear through to the bottom part, back down to the paper mache, which is fine. But you want to get it as even, as smooth as possible. Plus, when I was using that putty knife spatula thing, I couldn't get in really to the edges. So today we're going to go into remixing some body filler, and we're going to use our finger or a Q-tip, obviously with gloves on, but a small utensil or your finger to lightly spread the body filler into the cracks, essentially really doing what it's used for, which is filling the body of any sort of automotive piece, or in this case, your prop. So now that it's covered, we'll go ahead and I'll set the camera back down and I'll mix up the body filler and show you what I mean. And for this, it's good to have the old mannequin head with your tin foil to protect it, unless you're really not worried about the $5 styrofoam head. But there we go. That'll be good. And don't forget your goggles and your mask, because as we know, it's really toxic. $50 count of gloves, about $7. Really good buy. Found that at the SWTOR. Take our body filler. And our chopstick. You don't need to use a whole lot this time, just a little bit. And again, this stuff does not react, the single component does not react to the air, so there's no sense in, you don't have to worry about if you don't cover it. Good too, but mainly because of the fumes. Can't find where I put my head in. Probably not a good idea to find that out before I start this. I'll tell you. And your hardness. I'm only doing a small dab of it. So, there we go again. Small dab, plus a gray mixture, and stir. Get it back to that pink color. And make sure you're constantly scraping the bottom in various locations, because it will set. As you're stirring it, the gray won't fully mix in. And again, you don't want to spend too long stirring it, because you'll screw up your screw up the amount of time you have to work with it. So get it to about that point again, and I'm just going to go ahead and use my finger. Get a small dab of it, like that, and I'm just going to apply it. Wiping with my other finger. To avoid excess. And same deal. Wash, rinse, repeat for the whole helmet. Use your finger, spread lightly. It's kind of like doing drywall, like fixing a hole in drywall. And the reason why we're filling the low points instead of sanding down the high point is because we're just trying to keep it consistent. It's easier to fill in holes. Just smear and apply. To get any chunky, go ahead and get rid of those. And you're probably going to end up doing this 3 or 4 times, because again, like every other step, it's about getting a pristine finished product. And the worst thing you can do
just have a bunch of holes after you've spent 3 weeks making this thing, like I have. Well, technically I spent about 2 months with various attempts, so I got something that I'm happy with, and so far this is the one I like the most. And again, I've never actually finished one, so that may turn off some of you guys from watching these tutorials, but I assure you, by the time I'm done, this will look really good, because I won't stop until it is. And the tips and tricks I've given you guys are things I've already tried. I just haven't gotten to a point yet that I'm happy with. And I used too much hardener in this because this stuff's turned into goo already. So, starting to get gritty. Once it gets gritty, you only got a few more minutes of that. So, basically that's all there is to it.
Once you're done with that, once you're done with adding the spot fills over the whole mask, I mean, you're going to be doing this for a while. You'll go back and resand it until you're happy. And in the next tutorial, I'll show you my final product before we get on into the next phase of detailing. So it may be another couple days before you see me again. But just wash, rinse, repeat until you have the whole mask smooth and how you want it. So again, this has been Son Alexander. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for part 11.